Three and two, and we're live straight away. It's the Martin Fowler Scrum, and it's Thursday, and we have Sam and Mariam, and yeah, we've just come from the local support meeting where we've been looking at database issues and things getting stuck there. I've spent the morning mainly looking more at this GDPR consent checkbox and seeing if it can pass the data through the OAuth things, and I have this idea to switch the OAuth buttons around so that they are actually sort of submit buttons in the form. I've found, I hadn't heard of it before, there's a form action command that you can give that allows there's different buttons in the same HTML form to submit to different endpoints. So it's still a bit kind of, yeah, it feels like it might be a bit involved getting it to work. So there's a fair bit of coding to do there. Perhaps, I hope it goes smoothly. We had also the NHS Wiki meeting yesterday, and after that I made a bit of progress setting up a MySQL Docker plugin that potentially moves us forward in terms of that Docker file. I'd like to work on that some more, but there's a lot to do at the moment. We've got the deep learning mob coming up in a bit. I'm going to be pairing with Nick after that, and then was it Thursday? Do we have any Thursday? Yeah, no, that's going to be that for the day. Yeah, Mariam, how are things going with you?
I've been trying to do the changes for the interceptor variable.
Right.
But like I had some tests failing that were passing before, and I was investigating this in the morning, and I found out that it was because of the second try that was added. Yeah, so I will have to change the configuration. Because in the first try it was passing default environment variables that with which I can get those tests passing, but with the second try it doesn't use the default profile.
Yeah, I guess the interceptor it should only be used in development mode, right?
Yeah.
Oh, well, or development and production. We don't want it running in test mode because the test mode has its own email interception stuff by default, I think, right?
Okay, because like we said that we should make it run on all environments.
Yeah, it certainly needs to run. It needs to run on all the servers. It needs to, I think, run on the production and development modes, but I don't know if it needs to run in test mode. Or if running it in test mode, it's interesting that you say that's the second try thing. I'm surprised. Anyway, maybe I should.
That's because I was adding tests for acceptance tests, so I needed to run in the test mode.
Right. Yeah, no, good point. Anything else blocking you or on your mind?
No, I have just to work more on this.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Good show. Well, that's our Scrum. Just following up from, we were just in the local support meeting, and anyway, I think I've now like got to change that so the migration now completes without error. It needed to be varchar rather than nvarchar. It's complained it didn't know what nvarchar was, so I've ended up with a messy couple of commits that I could now sort of squash and sort out. But clean up, maybe. Is it worth it? I'm not sure. But yeah, so now the migration seems to run in its entirety with without any errors. So that's good. And I guess we'll leave the build running and see what happens with those other odd errors that were knocking about on the website. One thing that you were mentioning, it sounds like you're happy to keep looking at them. Yes. Yeah, I wonder if this is. I'm just gonna have a look here. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm worrying, but so here we've got this is the cucumber YAML. We set the environment variable allow emails as true. We set the interceptor in there. So now, right, so unless the allow emails has been set to be true, then we will intercept everything. So that's, yeah, which we talked about, which is good.
But it's not working because the second try is not using the default profile.
Okay,
so even though
go on.
It's not using that. Even though I added allow emails variable there, but it's not working.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's strange.
Yeah. I thought that's because of the second try.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because the first try is set to never fail.
Right. So the second, yeah. Although this is just that it doesn't report the exit status of it as failing or otherwise. But then, so the test itself here is this is, you know, as a developer, I want to be able to inspect generated emails. The interceptor won't allow us to inspect them, or I guess it will sell. Right. The interceptor will make all of the emails be sent to a particular person.
Yeah.
Is what it's supposed to do. Right. Yes. Okay. Yeah. And I mean, I wonder, is another way to go here to be setting these environment variables in the feature test?
I tried that, but it didn't work. That's the first solution I tried, but it didn't work.
I guess maybe because of where the of the initializer, like, yeah, switching the environment variable is not going to, like, this, it may have loaded the whole Rails stack before it gets to the point of doing this background.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I guess there's an argument there for, you know, we're now trying to test something that's being injected into the right, this sort of setup. Maybe we're trying to test too much here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, well, yeah. So I guess I would just say, if it ends up being too hard, I mean, maybe like this is simple enough code that we can trust it, if you know what I mean. And it sometimes gets very difficult to test at the edges. It, you know, it sort of feels like, oh well, I'm not doing a good job because I'm not testing everything. But sometimes the effort from testing outweighs the, you know, the different bits and pieces. Like, you know, we kind of, if we're using the sandbox email interceptor, we kind of trust them that they've got it working and that they have their own tests. And if this is the way that they're saying they're recommending to add it into the Rails system, and we'll be able to see it working in different places, and we can avoid, yeah, and in production we will just,
when I did the opposite, like when I did the intercept emails environment variable, it was working because I didn't have to change the environment variable for all tests, but only for one.
right,
the one that changed for the interceptor. So the first one, this one was working.
Right, it was working when it was more like this, because it was sort of on by, what we had is we had it on by default rather than off by default.
Yeah, and I just had to add the profile for the interceptor. So yeah.
Okay, interesting.
I wonder if I should just revert to that one rule. I don't know.
You're thinking about
Even though, yeah, I think it's better if it's enabled by default, but it's like it's more difficult when it comes to testing.
Right, but then we have the, like the yeah, it's what I think about is particularly is the staging. I feel like this one is safer. But yeah, I mean, and it's then, you know, do we prioritize the testing versus it being safer? I mean, at the moment, I think we just don't have the mail server configured on the staging server. I guess what I would like to be doing is configuring it, and you know, this allows us to be kind of sure that I would have to explicitly allow emails on the staging server.
No, it's not about the button and staging. It's just like the environment variable, the intercept emails one.
Yeah. Well, but I'm in terms of it being on or off by default. I'm thinking about the situation when we deploy it to staging and how it being on or off by default increases or decreases the chance of me accidentally doing a mass mailing to people on staging. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, yes.
So there's two things. There's the ability to test that the code works, and then there's the ability to ensure that you know, to increase or decrease the chance of a mistake out there. But you're thinking of going. So what you're saying, you're thinking of going back to.
No, I'll try more with this.
Yeah.
But I just said that the other one works.
Yeah, this one. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll leave it there. It's an interesting challenge. Great. Well, that's the Scrum. Good to see you, Mariam, and speak to you soon.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye for now.